Okay, we're here with the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour podcast. I'm here with James Myers and special guest Brett Druck.
Edibles McGee.
Huh?
Edibles McGee.
Okay, so Brett. So Brett just so look at the mic. Don't look at me. So it's gonna be very awkward. So we're here at Raval. We just did a show. We had a fantastic time, and apparently Brett took edibles.
But for a good cause.
What was the
taking
cause?
edibles. I'm testing the potency to help somebody who has multiple sclerosis because I made them a batch of edibles only to help them.
As much as that doesn't sound like a real story, that's absolutely a real story. I don't know how much further we want to get in depth on who and what.
And this is protected under parody. I don't know which mic. This is under parody law, so I can't be incriminated. I don't think it's how parody law. I think it's for copyright. But
parody law?
I don't know.
No, parody in law.
I don't know what the fuck we're talking about right now.
That's not
you can't get
real.
You can't get sued for copyright if you say that it's parody. Like they can't sue.
Oh,
you.
because
No
it's like
way.
it's based on fictitious characters.
Yes.
I see what you're doing.
So I could like rip off other people's jokes?
I like how that's the first place your mind
Yeah, I'm
goes
just gonna
to.
start doing
James.
everybody else's
I like how
acts and
that
just
was
be like,
what
I'm
you
just
decided.
making fun of them.
That's funny. I wonder if anybody's ever tried that in comedy to use parody
The fat
of
Jewish
comedy.
Fat
Yeah,
Jewish.
probably.
That was
But
his whole
wasn't his
shtick.
defense. They just never prosecuted him.
No.
They never like.
What was his defense? Just
I don't
he was
think he
piece of
had a
shit?
defense.
No, he was making money. He was making so much money for the platform that the platform was just like, we're not going to take these DMCA's seriously, and we're going to use our terms of service so that we technically he can steal your jokes.
That sounds fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fair.
So we had a fantastic show in Jersey City, where you are a resident, Brett.
Yes.
James, you've been to this show before.
Once, yeah.
With the New Jersey Funny Fest. We raised some money tonight for the Liberty
That
Humane
was
Society.
the New Jersey Funny Fest. This
This
is
is different. This is just a monthly deal.
okay.
The Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour. See the branding? See the brilliance?
And
This
that's
is
the podcast we're
not-
on now
this is-
too.
Right. This is not a
The
fictitious
Comedy's
podcast.
Best
This
Kept
is-
Secret.
Which one of us is the porn star?
Okay, but that's
Yeah,
it.
you do porn.
Yeah, that's a
podcast
reference to
too,
the
right?
Porn Stars of People podcast. Yeah,
How many? You got a lot of things going on right now.
I do have some things happening. Yeah. What were you gonna ask me? You said how many? How many things?
How many? Like, I didn't know that Comedy's Best Kept Secret had a podcast.
Yeah.
It's a very well kept secret. I didn't even know that it existed.
I know it's so guarded.
It's
no.
yeah.
So we've been filming. I mean, you've been on the road with me. We've been filming. We've been filming the podcast for years in the car, and so finally I was like, I'm gonna relearn how to edit and actually do something with what I've done. So that's what this is. So this is devoted to that.
By podcast, you mean secretly filming people, not letting them know that you're filming them. Comics discussing the most disgusting conversations, and then you just you let them know by posting the video online on Facebook.
This is a super. This is a super specific.
I think I saw a couple of
Yeah,
those.
a podcast.
So we were all me, Jordan Raybould, Matt Richards, Brett Druck. Well, there's one more person or no? In the car, and we were talking about some stuff, but it was clear that I was filming.
Nope.
So I put a video.
At
up.
the end of the trip, you went, okay, so that was good footage, and I was like, what?
So Matt Richards did the brilliant thing. He just pretended to be asleep the whole time.
Nice. He's a pro.
Jordan made homophobic comments, or homoerotic more like comments, kind of the whole time, and then Brett would chime in with some really solid jokes that apparently he didn't want released to the public because they were about coming and they were specifics.
He doesn't want his name attached to that? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean he's right here. I don't know why we're talking about him in the third. He's a guarded dude.
I would like you two to figure it out.
He wants a career, dude. He doesn't want his name attached to coming.
I get it. It's not
It wasn't career related. It was that I said disgusting stuff that I didn't want women to see me saying about coming.
Well, luckily, we don't have a lot of subscribers, so you're fine. You're fine. So it's working out.
Very
It's
well
working out.
kept secret.
So the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour, if you're listening, I don't even know how you found it, to be honest. So I'm glad that
You have to be looking through Dan's phone and find this and say, "What is this?" And you have hit play and welcome to the podcast.
Right? Somebody just researching, trying to see if I'm doing wrong things, and they listen to 15 minutes of this podcast.
This is the wrong place to look on Dan's phone. You need to look elsewhere on his phone. You're lost. You're gonna want to open the text messages, the Tinder account.
So,
Dude, I went on the road with you, and you
Yep.
went on 5 Tinder dates in a day.
That sounds right.
What is the matter with you?
Did anything happen? Was I successful?
No, you closed none of the deals. Zero.
It's a long game. I've really been perfecting the long game.
By perfecting, you mean like doing
So
more dates?
if I ever go back to Binghamton again, whoo,
you talking about the
better
one at the
believe.
casino?
What did we do?
The one who was married?
Did we do? Yeah, she was great. Shout out, no name. No, she was great. No, what else did we? So you came to Binghamton with me for making me
we
laugh.
did a little. That was a
You
little
did,
trip. That was like a 4-day trip.
Yeah, I
don't remember. Baltimore, I think. Was that the same trip? I don't remember.
No, these are all different things.
I can't recall.
My summer's kind of slow. Can I send you my avails? It's not the time.
So those are fun trips. So wait, what's your deal? You're in a relationship.
That's true, Dan. I am.
You were not today. You were not. I was clearly going around trying to hook up with girls and facilitate future people coming to shows. You have been pretty tame as far as women go.
Thank you for
noticing. As long as I've known you.
Right. I've had a girlfriend. I think.
You didn't at the time.
Not when I went Hoboken.
You were. I guess you were like tiptoeing into that at the time, which I
that was
wasn't
about
sure.
the time. Yeah.
And so how's that going? Do we want to talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about it if you like.
Should we?
Can I talk about it?
Yeah, you can talk about
I
it.
would like to talk about it.
You guys figure out. I forget what you were trying to figure out about me before, but I'll do it for you now.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay. No, I can't. I know too much.
So I don't know, but
Brett's gone to war with my girlfriend on social media.
Oh, is that
yeah,
true?
Yeah, that's what's going on here.
okay. Should we name drop? Should we say who you're dating and just to
I don't
give
give a
context?
fuck.
Okay, so you're dating Corinne Fisher. She's a fellow comp.
We're actually cool now.
So what's
Of the Guys
war?
We Fuck podcast.
What's the war that you're?
It was a war. We're fine now. There's a peace treaty. James is the peace treaty.
What was the war?
She just said something shitty on my Facebook, and then I don't really like. I just go.
You don't
for
play that shit.
I like it's.
I go for the kill immediately.
I do like I like Brett when it comes to this. So Brett, yeah, he'll try to take somebody down, or if you know him, and he may or may not reach out to you privately if he doesn't like what's going on. But generally he'll hit you up on the thing. So like I'm getting trolled today by people for the Porn Stars of People podcast, which is a pretty balanced thing, and we're having fun, and they are good episodes, the ones that I put out. There's been some duds here and there, but 2 comments in the last 24 hours. People like, yeah, thanks for ruining Porn Stars for me. Just 45 minutes of you talking, which is not what it is. But
Were they trying to jerk off the podcast?
Yeah, I don't know what
Is
the
that
thing is.
what they thought it was?
And I don't really know how to respond to the trolls. I don't know.
Is anybody jerking off right now listening to this?
Well, whoever was going through my phone, might
Jesus.
It's nice that you had both of the trolls on the podcast, though.
So I don't know. I don't know what. So you're really good at stirring up controversy on Facebook, James.
I suppose that could be said.
And Brent is sort of the opposite. Again, he tries to dead it. So what's your? So
What do you say?
He tries to dead it. He tries to dead any
Not
controversy.
Not anymore. I did. I backed down once because people were like, "You're getting too many fights," like good friends. And then I lost confidence in myself, and I hated it. And then people didn't respect. So now I don't back it down anymore.
So you lean into the fight.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, I saw you going at it with Phil Stamato like a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed that.
Who's Phil Stamato? You should have seen the physical version.
I'm doing a show upstate with him at Binghamton on Friday.
Who is he?
He's a guy. He writes for Splitsider, I think.
Yeah, he writes for Splitsider.
He's
a
a
nerd.
comic.
What was the controversy?
Oh, he was. We're not getting into this.
What? Let's get into it.
It's public.
Actually, I didn't enjoy it at all because neither of them would argue about fucking anything. Okay. They would just like dance around it.
So he was the last example of me trying to be for diplomacy's sake. We ran. I was helping him run a show, and then I brought an amp in because the sound was always shitty. And I kept telling him to fix the sound. They need to fix the sound. It's bad for the show. And then I brought an amp in, and he's like, "No, we're just gonna use the regular sound." And I was like, "No. If I just brought this amp in from New Jersey, so if we use the regular sound, which we know doesn't work, we know that we've used this sound before, it's been better. If we do that, I'm not doing the show anymore. If we do that and it doesn't work,
this is a show that you're on with him, or it's his show.
They used to
it's
run it
his
together,
show,
yeah.
and then they brought me in and helped them book it.
It was a good show.
Fix the show. And they never took any of the advice.
So you were the prophet for this show, and you were like, "What we need is this amp.
Yes.
That's what's going to make this show a real show."
Yes. Among other things like soundproofing curtains and all that stuff. So I did. They weren't doing it, and then I brought in the thing, and then I just did it for no reason. And so after the show, I brought my amp on stage because his.
So you
sucked.
like as if you were like a street performer bringing your whole act out.
Yeah,
you
I
brought
just came up as a tiny. I came up, and then I was like, I'm gonna do my set. I'm gonna have a good set because I'm gonna use the good sound.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna leave.
with the sound.
With the sound, and then I'm gonna take my curtains while I'm going. And I'm never gonna
You
come
took
back
the
again.
curtains.
I was going to.
It's so funny.
What I like about him,
When
I mean,
he
you
gets,
work with him
when he
for a
gets
long-
angry. Yeah.
But the
Do
thing
the
I like
whole
about
thing.
Brett is like he's so anal about like the setup of everything, but he's right about everything. After a show, he'll just be like, "Oh, those chairs were too comfortable."
We had a debate once.
The temperature's like 73.
We had a debate once that went on. I thought we were just joking around. It went on for like an hour and a half, where he told me I was the dumbest person he's ever met because my contention was that
I go straight for the kill. I told you.
because my contention was that lights are as important as sound. Now that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they're on the level. You got
the only thing you can fuck up with lights is having the lights on the audience on during the show.
Well, no,
I
if
think.
you have no lights, if you have no
light on the stage,
on
that's
the
bad.
people, that's bad. And if the lights are too much on the people, that could be bad.
That's really bad.
But no lights is fine,
No lights
and
at
no sound is not fine. Like you could have a comedy show in the dark. You can't have a comedy show without sound.
And that was the debate that we had, and it went way farther. It doesn't matter. Like we
were in a gigantic room. I was trying to do work on my laptop. Gigantic room. It's just me and a stool, and somehow Dan is sitting right next to me, keeping this argument going.
Wait, I don't know if you had it in person. Oh, I brought you to Glens Falls so I could continue the argument.
Civic Center. It was a huge room, and I was like, "There's
Oh,
no
wait, was
reason
I
for
there
us to
for
be
that?
this close in this room."
I did that show too at the
You did it
Civic
a different
Center.
time, yeah.
And yeah, it was shitty sound. Dude.
Yeah.
It was shitty
It's
sound.
not good. And then every time they pretended like it was cool.
I did it with J.L. Calvin.
We started bringing the sound eventually. But
yeah,
then
you bring that giant speaker on the fucking
right,
road.
and then even with that, it would bounce around the room. It wasn't
It
great.
was a giant room.
It was a basement of a fucking hockey arena.
It was a bad room.
And the whole reason I was
Had a good set.
the whole reason I had the relationship, it was yeah,
You could have had a better set.
that's true. The whole reason I was doing the thing was so that we could use the ice as a venue at one point, and I locked up that deal, and then they backed out like
Wait, what do you
3
mean?
weeks into it.
You wanna
I wanted to do a show on the ice for 5,000 people.
Okay.
It was great. And we
Just
didn't
like
do it.
listeners to the podcast here, or like how
Yeah,
do you wanna,
all the people, all the secret,
Binghamton
the
listeners to
secret
the
people,
secret people.
the secret people. By the way,
What's the population of Glen Falls?
I have no idea. Not a lot.
They
not a
had
ton.
big acts
Probably
there.
3,000.
But it's the only venue outside of Albany going north for like a long time. So it's like a whole different population of people is the point. So they're like an hour from Albany, so they'll go for something huge, but they'd rather stay in town.
They were happy to see comedy. I remember
No,
that.
we had
Yeah,
great
I remember
shows
there were
there.
children there,
We had
which
great-
was nice.
We had great
It's a
shows
nice
there,
touch.
and it was one of those things where I don't now that we're talking specifically with the venue, but like you'd be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? And then they would pretend like what I'm doing wasn't enough when the 125 people that were in the room were the my doing part.
Yeah.
So it was just
no,
one
it
of
was a good
these-
show, dude.
It was just
I had fun.
it's just one of those things, right? So you end up in those discussions, and eventually you go, it's not even worth it for me. Like I'd rather just find any other place to put 125 people, for them to appreciate what I'm doing. So
Anyway, so I got in a fight with this nerd.
so I don't understand how it made it to Facebook.
I was talking about you were having like a political fight.
Oh,
No. But so this was all left over from that. We never We never like talked about it.
Yep.
And then we just didn't see each other. And then everybody was like, "Hey, let's just be friendly, and we won't ever address it." And I've never done that. I have to like fight it out.
finish it.
And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a different approach." And I was like, I sent him a message. I was like, "Hey, man, despite what happened between us, this isn't gonna affect our relationship professionally in comedy. Like, we're cool on that front." And that was how I left it with him. And I wanted to be like, "Hey, you're a crazy person."
There's a private message.
Yeah, I sent him a text.
So wait, how did you get wind of this whole thing?
It blows over after that. I take that but it's like it's still under the surface. So I write a joke, he comments on it to like correct the joke.
Yeah, he did that. That's what
Okay.
I remember. What was it?
I said, and I was making fun of a thought that I had, which was "fuck capitalism," quoting, and then the attribution was to comedian whose job only exists because of capitalism.
Right.
It's clever.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
Well, and because I had this exact same thing. So, have you met Andrew Frank? Andrew Frank's a guy who won Make Me Laugh in St. Louis. He's over the weekend. He was playing Peoria or something, and they had him on a show. And they're like, "What do you think of the media?" And he was like, "Oh, they're just beholden to corporations and blah blah." And then the guy who was interviewing him was like, "Well, wouldn't you say that the media is aligning with your your particular interests right now in selling tickets to the club?" And he's like, "I guess." Like it became this like thing, yeah. So like he wants art to be free, but he wants to get paid for his art. It's like he's in that middle zone.
Yeah.
So that okay.
But I actually, I mean, I do think there's problems with capitalism, and I wasn't making fun of that. Like I was making fun of myself for thinking that. Like yeah, fuck capitalism, but at the same time, like, I can't do this. I can't tell everybody.
Of course, I can't fuck capitalism. I have to make money on the show. So then, what did he say?
He said, "Oh well, I think actually it's okay to critique capitalism and stand up. In fact, I think it's encouraged." And
then you lost it on him?
No, I just wrote "Never Change," which was
oh yeah, I remember that.
Like a reference to a post that I made previously that said like, "Thank you to the people who correct jokes and fact check.
Little passive aggressive.
The best part of comedy, never change."
By the way, this was the weakest Facebook fight ever. Like they just danced around each other, never engaged. There were no likes on any of the comments. By the way.
Right.
But I was just watching it like.
But it's my post.
Okay. But yeah, the home status advantage.
So
yeah.
on the flip side, you will write things that you feel that, but you'll almost lean into the idea that people are gonna there's gonna be an uprising to the things that you say. Like you go that route.
Yeah, there's gonna be, dude. I'm the only Trump-supporting comedian ever.
So you love that world.
Yeah.
On Facebook. So
absolutely.
So back to the thing. What do I do with my trolls? And then what? You're
like a road comic that accidentally got stuck in New York.
so what's
what am I doing here?
so what's your advice? Yeah, what's your mindset when you get into these arguments? How do you not take it
Dude,
personal?
if anybody's arguing with you, that means you're paying attention to you, right?
Sure.
That's good. That's what we're doing here, right?
So how do you not take it personal? I guess that's the thing. So me and Brett, we'll take it personal.
Yeah, but James doesn't take anything personal.
I have no soul.
You can't hide behind
like,
that.
What? Like when they call me a name? I don't give a shit. I mean, that's what we're.
But I won't, from strangers and stuff, I won't take anything personal.
Yeah.
But I've had like actual people that I know that I can't talk to anymore because you're a Trump fan,
right?
And shit. Well, okay.
They say I can't talk. Yeah, that's okay. So that's the fun weird world that we live in. Is I keep finding this on the dating sites. Is people will be like, if you voted for Trump, take a left, to swipe left. And I was sitting with a girl, and I was like, let me just to start off. I was like, I didn't vote for Trump.
Right.
Let's
you
start there.
cucked. Okay.
And
yeah,
then
you
I
cucked.
go, and then I go
total
but,
cuckold behavior.
And I go, but what and we went down the road. It got to the point where me just being devil's advocate on.
Oh, she'll hate you.
Yeah, she left. I mean, she left. She
Of
walked
course
out of the
she
restaurant.
did. Yeah,
it was
She's
it was
mentally
crazy.
ill. Do you know how big a bullet you dodged on that one?
I just think.
Do you know what would have happened if you had kept talking to that?
I wanted.
You would have wasted a lot of time.
I wanted to see how far it was going. I needed to know how intense this argument could be because.
Well, here's the problem.
I've been like, I'm not getting anything out of this except for the satisfaction of having this weird conversation, finding out what this person's going to react like.
Yeah, well, but now we're in this place where people that think they're progressive are regressive because they can't even hear the opinion that's opposite of theirs.
Right,
and these are the people that think that they're making changes.
Yeah.
We're in.
It's got to the point where that's comedians now.
Yeah.
That I can't talk to this person because he disagrees with me, but I'm a funny person.
Yeah,
no,
but how do you feel? But you're fine talking to them, but now they don't want to talk to you.
They're silly. They're ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, like, what am I taking this seriously?
Right.
I can't have any Trump fans on my feed.
On my page.
I'm a silly comedian. I'm a silly person, but come on. What are we doing?
I'm a silly person.
Just say though, I feel like a weird thing. I love that I get both mics whenever I have to talk.
You don't get your own mics, and then you get both of them.
It's a press conference.
A hot girl that like, as soon as she opens her mouth, just the dicks come out. Like, whoa, huh?
Okay, so what?
No, I feel like I'm working on this idea. I'm not sure where I stand, but people feel right now like there's a responsibility with comedy, and I would think that too. But if you look back at like Bill Hicks and George Carlin, who were incredible social critics, they had such a big influence for what they said. If you look back at their specials, they break down everything that was going on in society, and it's still going on. It didn't make a change.
No, I love what you're saying, but the people that you're talking about are not people that are like being responsible comedians about society and about change. So I totally agree with what you're saying. But the people that are blocking James on fucking Facebook are not those people. They're not the Bill Hicks.
And they're never going to be comedians.
Right.
They're
but
faking
they
it.
feel that they are. That's what I'm saying. But even if you feel that you are, that role, you're not going to make that big of an impact in comedy. They made the biggest impact. Everything is still going on. This is not our job. Our job is comedy. Yeah. There's not that. There's a small responsibility, but mostly it's just comedy. I'm working. I'm not. I'm not positive that I feel that way.
I'm
but
with you
thinking
for
about
most
it.
of that. Yeah, I'm with you for most of that.
Here's what I find now that I'm in my 30s, I actually enjoy, and I have a lot more information than I used to so now I legitimately enjoy arguing, and I enjoy arguing with the opposite side, kind of maybe what I feel. But we are at this weird place where there's only like. You get to be on one side or the other, and there's no middle. So I found out, because I started upsetting people with my argument about trans people, and I found out it's because I'm using an argument that doesn't fit into the two arguments.
What is your argument?
Well, I thought it's like a hard thing to jump into now.
No, it's not.
Because it was like
Can I tell you Dan's argument?
Please. Yeah, I'd love to hear it from somebody else.
Dan's argument is that trans people are touched by old Greek gods. And that causes
so the edibles are kicking in. No, I can't remember how far.
Do you have any more of those?
I can't remember how far. I can't remember how far back into the argument I have to go, because I basically tried to dead it in my head because I was upsetting so many people. But I think a lot of things. I think I think one of the things is trying to fit.
For legal purposes, that was parody. What I just said.
Parody.
Parody.
So
law.
I think that people are trying to fit into the world that they don't want to be a part of, right? So like changing your body, I just don't necessarily agree with plastic surgery. So changing your body. So I'm more for the world where we dissolve gender and you get to be whatever you want. If you say you're a man, then I don't have you shouldn't have to go surgically become a man. That's my argument. Is that if you say you're a man, that should be enough for all of us.
What in the blue fuck are you talking about?
People go and get
dissolving
surgery.
Gender?
Yeah, I would rather dissolve
gender. You want to
gender.
get rid of gender.
I think that's the problem that we're having.
You think the problem is that there's genders?
more than somebody who was born a particular thing then cosmetically changes themselves
So
to
what we
fit
need
into
to do
the
is get
world
rid of-
to fit into the world that they don't appreciate already. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't appreciate the standard that is men do this, women do this, but then they surgically try to fit into that world.
Well, but isn't it that people who genetically feel that they are a different gender than the parts that they have, isn't that mean it's because the idea of male and female is hardwired to penis equals male. So I need to do the best to get a penis, but it's a hardwired thing. I think they feel compelled to that because it's their brain and their DNA is telling them, no, you're male.
Right. So my argument ends up getting to the point where people think that that I just don't get it, and that I'm not in that. That I'm not in. That I'm not in that position. So how should I be able to talk about it?
I also feel that you don't get it, but I also think that there's nothing to get. It's a ridiculous thing.
But here's the question: at which point is that trans person happy?
Huh?
At which point are they happy? They go get surgery, and if they don't like how the surgery turned out, they can blame whatever. It's at which point are they happy? No, that's the whole thing. What do you mean why do I care? It's
like,
just
why is this?
That's an interesting question. You're saying what is the line of like, how do you know like you're never gonna feel male enough or female enough, or is there an actual once I have a dick and balls, then I'll be happy.
Right, and so that's the question. Is at which point do we ask these people? Which point do we? Because the argument doesn't. My argument, the other argument doesn't ever acknowledge. They just go, hey, they think that they're this. Let them do whatever they want with their body. But at which point do we sit them down and ask? Like, here's the thing. I'm left-handed. Now, this is a horrible example, and this is why this argument ends up crumbling. But whatever I have on my body that I'm not happy with, somebody in my family, like these.
Did you say you're left-handed?
Yeah, whatever. So I'm saying it's a horrible
you
example.
people should be gassed for sure.
It's a horrible example. But at some point, I have to accept who I am and what my body is, and that's what we're missing in. When we say to a trans person, do whatever you want. Go do whatever.
Can I help your shitty end argument?
Please.
When you teach people who are left-handed if you force them to write right-handed,
my grandfather.
They develop speech impediments and all kinds of issues.
Is that
That's absolutely true. So there is I always use that example as like when people are like they think like mind over matter completely is a thing, but there's a physical component to your brain.
But at least they're using the correct hand, right? At least they can participate in society and use a bathroom like a normal person.
What is the bathroom part? Oh, you're stretching
it
back to trans, or you're talking about left-handed people can't pee properly?
They can't.
Okay.
I assume anything that's going wrong in the bathroom, any kind of dribble.
Although, you know what I didn't realize?
James pees out of his right hand.
out of my hand. Yeah.
You know what I didn't realize until just now. It didn't dawn on me. You can't take a zipper down with your left hand comfortably. It's on the side where you have
Yep,
to use
that's
your right hand.
another right supremacist.
So you just give up and piss yourself. If you're allowed.
No, you have to
That's
get
more
good.
of
You have to
the
get good
right-
with both hands.
I know it's a right-handed patriarchy type of situation.
But so that's the whole thing. Is at which point do we tell a trans person to accept their body? Is it after surgery?
I don't
is
give
it
a.
before
You don't
surgery?
tell them anything. I don't care.
But that's the problem.
They're
Is there's no
silly people.
There's
Who
no
cares?
but there's no concern, and so my argument doesn't fit into the two realms of.
But
thought.
you're asking like what you're supposed to tell, like who's supposed to tell, the
No,
government?
no, the point,
doctors.
Yeah, the point is, at which point do we be supportive of somebody, and we just go, oh no, everybody can do it. Now we're just going to point, everybody can do whatever they want, which gets to this place where
Yeah, there used to be social pressure to not act strange. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? And it's moving so quickly that people, because I mean, 10 years ago, if you saw a guy dressed up like a woman, you would be like, that is fucking weird,
okay,
right?
Well, sure.
Right?
Sure.
You guys
It's
remember
still
10 years ago,
It's
right?
still happening. You go to Portland, people wearing dresses. You go, hey, look, that guy's wearing a dress. So it's still a thing.
And
But-
now you're expected to just be like okay with it, like right away.
Oh yeah, you can't laugh at it.
Well, you can't laugh at it. You can't even really mention it.
It's
And
not,
it is
it's
still
not
silly. That is still a sign that person is acting in a strange way.
This argument has it doesn't have even like two sides to it. It's like a 3D argument.
What's-
Like it's
well,
going in so many different directions.
Well, what's funny is that James is coming out of left field because he doesn't care. He doesn't care
You're
at
not even
all.
on the field. Your argument is like from.
I just don't see what you're like. What do you want to do? Like,
Well, so the two arguments are you can't change your genitals and do whatever you want. That's it. Those are the two arguments. Don't change your genitals or literally do whatever you want. There's nothing in the middle, and my middle is, dude, we got to talk to some people and go, hey, what else is going on? How can we fix it? Because just going and getting cosmetic surgery is not going to solve the root problem.
well, it never does.
It's not going
the
to.
suicide,
And that's
the suicide rate is higher after the surgery.
so that's
actually.
my argument. And the other thing is that surgery only goes one way because it's not a pretty surgery to go from female
It's
to
horrific.
male.
It's horrific.
Less people do it.
Can I tell you my whole theory on it, and you'll see if it lines up with yours? Because it might. So, Native American culture, there was like 4 or 5 genders or something like that.
Genders.
Yes, and the people who were, and this is from my understanding, and this is not well researched at all, but from my
I
understanding,
think I
those,
know a little bit about this.
yeah,
actually.
those people were revered, right? So you're not.
Gender people?
Yes, if you were a non-traditional male or female, right? If you're one of the other genders, then now you're revered, and I think that is in like kind of a way of like you're an exception, but you're exceptional. So it's like a good thing to be the outcast here.
So
and
treat a trans person
Better.
like,
They're better
like a
people.
genius.
Yes,
They're a
yes, they're
genius.
much
They're an
better people.
anomaly.
for me, that would make sense because I do believe fundamentally men and women have an inclination towards very different ways of doing things and
Kinsey's,
thinking.
sure, okay.
So I'm saying, so people here, like in society, if you're different, you're trans or whatever, then you're hated or whatever. But it should be like, this is a person who actually understands both male and female energy, and they are a bridge. They're an ambassador between the sexes, and I think that's probably what it should be. This is in part my theory, but but not admitting that you are different is ridiculous, and people will never accept it because the materials of a man and a woman are the reason that we're all here. Like, you have to make gender binary. It is part of the reason we're here. You are exceptional, and that's not bad. That's a great thing, and society needs to change into embracing that, but not pretending that it's not different.
Dude, you just were in the middle of that argument, but never made a point. Like, there's no. You're saying you want to revere these people, but we need to keep gender binary.
What's what we bump into the whole time.
Gender is binary, and when you don't fit into that binary, you are special. You are an anomaly, and that is a good thing. And that's how it is, except that
No,
now
but that's
it's
bad.
a bad thing.
That's a bad thing for society. If you need to keep the genders separate, then how is this person who comes along who thinks they're the other gender? How's that good for society?
No, I'm not saying that you keep them separate. I'm saying you acknowledge that there are differences between men and women. There are certain inclinations towards.
Well, that's the
testosterone
fun
and
thing I
estrogen.
like about the argument that trans people are born with a different gender in their mind, is because it flies right in the face of everything that says that the genders are equal and exactly the same, which is a lot of what the feminists are arguing.
Right, and that's ridiculous.
So they
Like
want to
the
say that they have the same brain, but these men are born with a woman's brain. But
Right.
how did we get there? Because
and the open tolerance of everybody and this is where we bump into it is people just go, well, it's not you're not that thing, so what the fuck do you know? And then we get into this just okay, everybody do whatever you want. It's just open tolerance across the board, which now we're inventing things that just
What's
aren't
the
things.
problem with everybody doing what they want?
Well,
That's
well, here,
fine,
I'll
but
tell you the
that's-
problem.
but no, but
they're
that- but
cutting
that's-
the kids' dicks off right now. That's the problem.
Sure.
They're
Sure,
cutting them off at like
sure.
4 years old.
And we're not
That's
and we're
an
not
issue.
actually accepting anybody. We're just going, I don't know, it's not me. And then everybody goes, "Oh, I want to fucking do whatever." So now it's just cool. Like if I just want to stab you, I can use that same argument. Everybody I just do whatever I want. Well, he's cutting his dick off. I identify as who stabs people.
No,
You're
but
right.
that's the issue.
So
dude,
that's
is
the problem. Is it's just open across the board, and now so it's like every
doctors now who deny people surgeries are like losing their jobs.
Sure.
And it goes against the Hippocratic Oath. You're not supposed to be able to say, I feel like cutting off part of my body, and a doctor says that's
Right.
okay. That's against the oath, dude.
And again,
for a doctor
back
to say,
to-
I don't think that's good for you, I'm not going to recommend that.
Yeah.
They can lose their job now.
Right.
And if you don't recommend it for a kid, you can lose
Sure.
your job. And if you're a parent of a kid and you deny them that surgery, you might lose your kid.
Interesting.
This is an issue.
Interesting.
Civilization is falling apart in front of our eyes.
And again, we never hug that.
But
boy.
nobody wants
We
to
never
be-
hug that boy and go, "It's okay." Like you're
Well,
fine.
that's the thing,
you're
because
fine.
if you're
you
born-
don't need to fit into the thing. Look, you don't fit into the thing, and that's. Let's go to the Native American
don't
and
think that there are a
you
lot
don't
of-
fit in the thing, and that's good.
You don't
we
think
don't
there are
do
a lot
that.
of very, you know what kids are like? They're impressionable as fuck,
Sure.
and like, you know,
We all
they might
fucking
be
bought.
a
We all bought the
social-
same fucking
Dude,
T-shirt.
They might be like a social outcast that gets no attention. When I was like 8 years old, I wanted to do tap dancing lessons.
Yeah.
My dad was
Did
like,
you do it?
no. He's like, no. My dad was like, no. Dude, like,
We should go
Like,
tap
look,
dancing lessons now.
you don't think for like they can be conditioned to think that this is a good idea and you'll get all the attention you need if you're just what we want you to be, which is trans. Because that's the,
Sure.
that's the
Sure.
fun thing.
Well, that's an argument too. People, right? So people that work in schools say that people getting pregnant is contagious. Somebody gets pregnant and they see that the attention that they get and they're pregnant. And then 10 years ago, there was the vibe where if you were gay in high school, then you got all the attention. So there's a bunch of people that were saying that they were gay and living gay and becoming gay and then recanting later, but for the attention that you get and the exceptional thing that you get
Yeah,
in
imagine
high
the
school.
dumb shit you did in middle school, except this time somebody cut your dick off. Dude.
Right. Right. Go ahead.
Right in the middle of my argument, I got like super stoned.
Brett's gone.
Really kicked it.
So Brett's gone, but this inherently shows us the problem is there's no solution to any of this, and then that's when you get into this thing. It's two people arguing about a thing that really doesn't have a solution.
Yeah, it does.
And then they get heated.
Yes, it does.
It does. What's the solution?
We're not cutting any more dicks off, dude. That's it.
No, and here's the thing, and the problem is I agree with that, but
you don't wanna-
but I
you
don't
don't wanna
agree,
say
but I don't
it.
agree with the.
You're
no,
afraid somebody
I
might
don't
call
agree-
you a naughty
I don't-
name.
We got to the same answer, but we use different math. That's my take on it.
And I counter his argument because I think that if like I've never had an inclination to cut my dick off, right? And I didn't really do that many things as a kid where I'm like, fuck, thank God I had somebody to guide me and fix that situation because I made such a dumb decision. Like I've never wanted to get a tattoo because I like know that I changed my mind and that people are fickle and stuff like that. But like I should reproduce, and a kid who wants to cut his dick off at 5, that kid shouldn't he should get his dick cut off because then he can't make more kids.
Yeah, you got really stoned, dude. That's good shit. Let me get some of that. I want some of that.
Because he can't make more kids. That was the end. Well, I think at the end of the day, man, I didn't fucking know who I was. I didn't know who I was until very recently, and I'm 33. So the things that I still don't know about myself, there's at which point is the correct time to alter your gender, to change what you're doing, to become a different person. At which time is that the correct? At which time is that the correct answer? And that and there is actually no legit answer to that either.
Are we just gonna like?
No, my favorite part about just being dudes is it doesn't matter what's going on.
Right.
If a hot girl walks into the room with all focus lost, you're like,
if you notice a derailment in the podcast, it's because two smoking hot chicks just walked in and
it's
like
because a girl with a tan and
wandered around.
It's because a girl with a tan.
They were
she just walked
so
up
hot.
And wandered
And none
around.
of us remembered
girl
what we were
with-
doing, and none of us wanted to talk about chopping off dicks anymore while they were in here.
So
Yeah.
what's really interesting?
Like none of us want to continue our conversation while they were here. They were like looking around, very lost, and they were so hot.
No, what's very interesting, yeah, is you can tell that's like that behavior. She's never walked into a room and people are like, "No, you can't be in here." She just gets to walk into every room.
No, you're right.
And just wander
this isn't
around.
for you. Just help yourself.
Nobody's ever like, "Excuse me, there's a podcast happening." No, they just let her wander around.
I mean, do you want to?
Wouldn't it be funny if like the president was just like giving a speech and she just like kind of wandered across it and people are like, how did she get past? Everyone just was like, oh yeah.
She's supposed to be here. Her butt cheeks are hanging out. It's probably fine.
Yeah, it's good.
It's probably fine. So yes, and I don't remember. I really don't remember. What
You were talking about how you might change your mind about that penis. And get rid of it.
So there's no answer. Is the point?
No, there is.
If you think you should cut your dick off and then you change your mind, then you shouldn't be able to have. You should be able to create more of you. I think that's a dumb person.
So just sterilize these people? I'm with that.
No, they're sterilizing themselves.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, just take the balls, I guess. I don't know. The dick?
And I'm back.
Have you seen the results of this surgery, by the way? It is horrific. It is a gaping
I have not
wound.
done that.
It's a gaping, seeping, pus-filled wound.
I've never done that Google search.
Forever.
I already have that.
He is really fucked up. This is so funny.
Dude, but here's the thing: like medical journals can't even like write about how they wouldn't advise it because they're labeled as like bigots, and there's groups that will like protest them
because
and like, go after these people.
Okay, and this brings me full circle.
It's
where we
not
were.
good medicine, dude.
Full
it's
circle
bad.
where we were.
Psychologically, medically, it's bad.
There's two very, and this happens with a lot of controversies, and there's two very closed off arguments that are very extreme, and this is what politics is in this country now, and neither one of them solves the problem, but they both come from ignorance, and they're both extremes,
no,
and we don't have any.
Mine solves it all. Everyone keeps their dicks. You can be gay, be trans even.
That's what I'm saying. Is you be whatever you want, and we can dissolve the gender. If you want to be a person who wears a dress, I don't have to ask you any other questions.
Don't act like that seems weird to me that I'm a bad person.
Who?
Don't tell me I'm a bad person if that seems strange to me, or I won't date you.
Which person?
The person who
which
has a
person's
penis
the bad
who's got
person?
a dress on.
Okay. So don't tell that person that they're
I
bad,
mean,
or don't tell you that you're bad because you don't want to date the dude with the dude in the dress.
Yes.
You're not a bad person, but again, I think it
they
just
all
brings
have all
it back.
kinds of names.
I think
a lot of phobia.
I think it brings it back to I think everybody and the fluidity of gender can be, because it is in nature, it is. So it can be a little bit more open. Whenever we get to the point where we're defining it, and like you said, like binary and whatever. I mean, there's the Kinsey scale. There's the Kinsey scale where that says that everybody is some level straight, some level gay.
That's horseshit.
And we're playing with that.
No, dude.
There's no dude on earth that you would it'd be cool if you walked in on him and like watched him. None.
I mean, that's not gay.
So that's the same thing, right?
Not
and
gay.
that's my point. Is that it's not. There's a curiosity to all of us, and there's something. And honestly, the difference between the genders it's not crazy.
I don't believe gay is a thing, Dan.
You don't believe it's a thing?
No, people were gay for thousands of years. They just never called it gay.
Right? Yeah.
It's new as an identity. It's meant to separate us and get us mad at each other.
Oh, it was an accepted form of behavior in like Greek
culture. It's a new idea to get people mad at each other.
It's funny. Sometimes I think James is just going down the Trump path, and then he says something insightful like that.
Yeah,
and he's like, gays don't exist.
That's what I'm saying.
Homosexuality. No man has ever had sex with another man. Like that's what I think.
Didn't go that
far.
With.
No, but I think
people have been ass fucking forever.
Place.
Monkeys ass fuck, dogs ass fuck.
Don't tag me in this.
It's not. It's not an identity. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's my point. Is once we start breaking everything apart, and we have to get to the point where what's gonna make you happy, and just doing whatever isn't the thing, and trying to align with this idea of gender that you don't believe in because you were born in a spot where you think you don't fit into the two, so you're never gonna feel like you fit into the two no matter what you do to your body. So which point do we go, hey?
Do you feel like we're reaching
accepted.
some kids right now? Like, I mean, do you think we're changing some lives?
No.
That's the beautiful thing about this podcast. Nobody will ever hear it.
It's gonna reach
my
no
favorite
one.
part about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. How do you guys feel about suicide?
Comedy's best kept secret. Funny man, Dan Frigolette. He's a big jokester here at the comedy show in Jersey City, New Jersey.
I mean, in what way? Do I feel like you should be allowed to do it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Allowed?
Yeah.
I mean, if it works, who's going to stop you?
Right, sure.
No, I'm big into assisted suicide. That should be something.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So what are the terms of that? How do we qualify that
If you want to die, you should be able to die.
anybody?
Yeah.
Like,
Not children, maybe.
okay, but why do you need? So why do you need the assistant? So then there's certain people that. So with assistance,
That's
you said
the
that
biggest freedom you have.
when you don't need assistance, right?
Yeah,
I
you
can
should have
I
the
can
freedom
jump off
to
any
end your
building
life.
anytime. You're right. But with assisted suicide, there's the problem is
What's the problem?
you gotta help. Somebody's got to be an accomplice.
Uh-huh.
What if you're pro-life, but also you believe in assisted suicide, and there's like a little baby Dr. Prodigy, and it could kill itself in the womb? That you really are stuck in a tough situation.
I'm in a loop now. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
can
also we
I really need some of these edibles, dude. I really.
it's a loop that I can't even jump into loop. You're so far into it.
Baby
I thought you were gonna make a late term abortion joke. Honestly, I thought
I think that's what I was going for, but
You almost got there.
happy with how it came
I
out.
thought you were gonna say that a 46-year-old assisted suicide is just a late term abortion. That's where I thought you were going
No,
with
that's
it.
a hack joke. I was trying to put somebody in a pickle. Like, well, I do believe in baby prodigy doctors that could be born, but I also believe that you should be able to take your own life. But I'm pro-life.
So, and that's the problem is we can't because being pro-life or being pro-choice it doesn't affect all of the things. Because every time you pick a side, then there's always that one mitigating
I just
circumstance.
love that, like, you brought me down here to this basement. We were having a nice time. And you're just
we're
like, what do you
having
think
a
about suicide,
We're having
abortion?
a nice
and-
time.
and
That's the
trans people?
problem. I think we handle death, and I think we handle suicide wrong in this country. The way people.
I agree with that.
So this is an interesting thing. I was talking to this girl a while back. She ended up in a relationship. So some people stay on your radar a little bit because we never started or finished. So she was just kind of on my radar. She was like madly in love on Instagram with some dude. Then all of a sudden, dude is dead. Like that's all of the information I have.
It's a twist.
No, but but that's all the information I have because I'm not in her life. I don't know her,
Yeah.
right? So now I'm trying to figure out this young dude. No, he wasn't sick, and I'm trying to find out how this guy died.
Find out how open she is to hanging out.
No, I want to find out. Yeah, how long it's
That's
gonna.
what you meant,
I got to
right?
find out how the guy died, so I can find out how long she needs to grieve.
Right.
No, but I'm trying to find out how this guy died, and I can't. Like I can't find an accident. I can't find anything. On an obituary, it doesn't tell you how somebody died. So I keep going back to it every 6 or 8 months. I think he died in like a
Folks,
block.
this is the long Tinder game
I
right here.
think
This is like the
long game. I told you.
This
I
is
told you at the beginning of this.
professional Tinder.
Long game. No, but so I
Googling obituaries.
It's so long term, you never meet. You just die.
we'll meet at our assisted suicides. So the
Dan's got obituaries for Tinder dates, just like
so eventually I think I discovered that he died in like a botched drug deal where he was murdered, but there's no information. If somebody's murdered and you don't know them personally, they're not like that doesn't make it if they're nobody, that doesn't really make it into the paper. Like that's
Right.
like none of that there's nothing around it. So the way we handle death in this country is crazy. Like you can't even ask somebody how somebody died. Like I saw so
you
I'm
can.
it's just it's not a
You
normal
didn't.
conversation.
You could just ask her.
I don't know her. I can't ask her how this dude who's dead died. I guess I could do that.
When you ask though, like have a bucket of popcorn.
You can ask her.
Sure. Do you think we handle? Do you think? Dude,
Dude, my
think we
my
handle
ideas
death
of death are
proper?
so fucked up, dude.
Do you
I
think
grew
we
up in
handle death
I grew
proper?
up in a funeral home.
I know that's
so
why I
like-
want to go. That's why I want to go that route with you. I want you to have normal. I want you to have answers that make sense.
Yeah,
to
dude,
me.
my grandfather was big into death, dude. Like he was big into assisted suicide too. He thought it was like the right thing to do.
Okay. Who? Your dad?
My grandfather, who,
Okay.
who owned the funeral home, and yeah, you should have the right to die if you want to die.
Yeah. Life isn't for everybody.
That's a good way to put it. That's a nice bumper sticker. I like that.
Crash.
Boom.
So okay. So what? Okay. So let's. How dark can we go? What circumstances do you? So I go through in my head what the circumstances of me being capable of murder are. What do you think the what do you think the circumstances of you being capable of suicide are?
It's not happening.
Never.
No.
Just too arrogant.
No, I like hanging out. Dude. I like being here.
Okay. Okay.
It's good.
What about you?
Yeah.
Dude, if nothing else.
What?
What is there any circumstances where you could find that you would want to commit suicide?
It's socially uncouth to ask somebody how their loved one died, especially while holding a bucket of popcorn.
This is what, are you
tweeting
sending
right
this,
now.
or are
Yeah,
you?
that's a
Are you
little
keeping
tweet.
it or sending? Here was the problem with me with doing drugs is I would write something down that I thought was incredible, and then I could never get back to that. I could never get back to that zone.
Well, but that's why I'm not tweeting it now, because I'm going to look at it later. And it's going to be
Yeah, I do the
torture.
same thing.
Are you gonna be able? Are you gonna be able to turn that into something?
I thought it was done, but I guess
Did you
I'll
mean-
have to
did-
work on it.
Did you mean the public as in the people listening to this podcast?
People listening to
That's
podcast.
not really
okay,
the
still
public.
private.
Yeah, you're
That's-
fine.
That's still the person
You're
looking
totally
through Dan's
fine.
phone.
I do like. See, this I like. I do like disparaging the podcast that we're on while we're doing it. Because I was late into the podcast game because I didn't believe that anybody would give a fuck about any of this. So maybe I do take it as a thing that this guy listened to 45 minutes and the whole time he's thinking, why the fuck is this guy talking when Lexi Luna could be talking or whoever the podcast was on? I guess there's something to that he
Right.
fucking listened to 45 minutes that he thought was 45 minutes too long of me talking and stayed in that zone. That's kind of insane.
What would you want out of your own podcast? If
The
you were
po-
listening?
so the Porn Stars of People podcast, I really enjoy, but I don't listen to them back because I do think I talk too much, but it's too, but it's two people.
I mean,
I don't
you're
wanna
reviewing
hear-
your own
I
podcast
don't-
poorly.
I don't want to hear I don't want to hear myself talk. Why would I want
Nobody
that?
else wants to hear yourself talk.
I think some people could enjoy hearing me talk, but I'm trying, but I'm trying to initiate conversation with these people who I find interesting, and that's what it is. But it's not just, hey, I'm going to ask you a question and then sit and watch you.
Well, do you
talk
find
for
it's
45
tough to
minutes.
get porn stars to talk?
I find so. Here's what it is with porn stars. It's just like everybody else. I'm gonna get along with some of them, and some of them we're not gonna see eye to eye, and it's gonna be a brutal thing to sit and talk. And just like you meet somebody at a bar, you meet somebody at a party. Sometimes you don't hit it off.
And sometimes you're picturing them naked.
Sometimes you gotta do a lot of work to make the thing interesting. So far, I've interviewed really, really cool people, and I've had a lot of episodes that I really enjoy. And there's a lot of fun happening in them. So I just don't understand how these people are critiquing
How could
what is my
anybody
fun
not like you, Dan? That's the real question.
It's been a plaguing thing for me for years. It really has, because it's most people. It seems.
I don't think that's true.
I think it's.
I
most
think you got a good 55% approval rating.
Is it, you think that's Brett?
He likes Trump.
So there you go. It is interesting because there are. So I do have a.
Trump won, by the way. So, Dan Frigolette's
What's
a big
that?
winner.
What's this? What's the? Wait, that's okay. I was gonna say, what's the end of that? He won, but did he though?
Yeah, he won.
He didn't win the popular vote.
Who gives a shit?
Okay, fair enough.
That's a technicality.
I'm not gonna get into this.
He won
part
by
of
the rules.
argument. I'm not gonna get into this part of the argument.
That's all you need to do, Dan, is win.
Win by the rules,
Find the rules that
funny.
work to your
I'm
favor.
excited.
and then win. That is the motto.
Who gives a shit about the other people?
That is the motto. That is the Trump motto.
Then isn't the question like, what if you're breaking other rules to win that one rule?
Perfect.
And that's
Saying your credibility's gone.
you just keep redefining which rules, and you're like, no, we were playing Parcheesi and you were playing Connect Four. Well, but it was within the rules, so I guess that is what he's doing.
Exactly.
That is what he's doing. It's
Yes,
brilliant.
That is what he's doing.
It
That's
is
what you
brilliant.
should do
It
too.
is. It is sideways brilliant. What about the argument that he's what is he 74?
He's 71.
71 years old.
He just
so,
turned 71.
So everything he's trying to do to change the he's like everybody who's that age thinks that the world is ending because their world is ending.
Okay.
Like he's dead. He's
It's an
not gonna have
argument
to.
against him?
He's not gonna have to deal with any of this. Yeah,
He's doing fine. I mean,
he's doing
Hillary's not going to
crazy
last as long as
things.
he is.
Well, Hillary has Parkinson's,
Probably. She's got a lot of things going
and
on.
I think Bill has Parkinson's
He looks shit.
because he was on this
Yeah,
thing.
he looks terrible.
He was on the thing with Alec Baldwin 3 days ago. Did the speech, and the whole time he's shaking.
Alec Baldwin.
I can't.
Yeah.
What's the probability that a married couple both has Parkinson's, which is a pretty rare situation?
Dude, they're into all kinds of they eat babies and shit in some dark basement in California. Man, they're into some weird shit.
Maybe that's possible.
They consume human flesh for sure. So that leads to all sorts of health
That's
problems.
how they kept off the Parkinson's for so long.
It is.
that might be true, but then it turns into a little tremor later on.
Yeah, there's prions and shit that get into your brain with that shit.
So what circumstance would you find yourself capable of murder then?
That would be pretty easy, all things considered.
Somebody said something I didn't like on Facebook.
Did you see the show?
For sure. That's
Did you
true
see
with
the
Brett.
guy texting right here during
Yeah.
everyone's set?
Yeah,
I came very close to murdering your guest.
I don't call him my guest. You're welcome to murder any person.
Was he a fan of the podcast too? Is he going to be listening to
He's
this?
going to listen to. He's going to text the whole
I'm
thing.
going to find you and kill you. Why are you texting through everything? I called you out texting, and you continue to text.
Yeah, Justin too.
Justin went after
Was he texting during my set?
Yes.
I didn't even notice. The
He
lights were
did
so
not.
bright.
Lights are so bright. Yeah.
He was the only one that wasn't lit up by the lights. That's why I noticed.
Yeah.
And he's just like iPhoning the shit out of
Yeah,
what is going on?
Did he
I
enjoy?
hated
Was
him.
he enjoying otherwise? So you would kill him. Who else would you kill in this room? See, but then also
That's
that's a fun one. But you're not gonna actually kill him. But
If I had a chance and I could get away with it, I would.
okay, that's fair. Now I think murder could be I think morality could play itself out in a more clear way if we had less rules. So I think if the consequences of murder were society sort of finding out that you murdered somebody and then murdering you as a result, I think that would stop more murders than just if you murder somebody, you go to prison for X amount
That's
of
the
years.
society we have. Like, death penalty does exist. So
What exists?
death penalty exists.
The death penalty exists, but it's not on the same level, and there's a lot of like you can get out
Are
of
you
it.
saying you think people should be stoned by the community?
I think in pure nature, pure anarchy, if you kill a person, people are gonna find out, and then first of all, when you kill that first person, you also have to in this anarchy society, they're not saying, oh, it's bad to kill a person, so then they're trying with everything that they have to not be killed by you, so they could kill you, so you have a risk of being killed by that person, and then all of their family members find out that you killed their family member, and they don't wait around for the police to catch you; they just come to your house and they kill you.
It's really not anarchy at that point. That's a government. If you've got a lynch mob that's running around,
It's not even a lynch mob. It's
if you've got a group of people who have
dad.
power that are administering justice because they have power.
No, there's
that's
no
government.
power. No, there's no power.
Yes, it is. If you've got a
we all have the
group of
power to
people,
not kill each other or kill each other
and
at
as
all
soon
times.
as somebody kills somebody else, and we all get together and say we need to do something about this, that's a government.
Sure,
It's not anarchy.
I vaguely agree with that.
That's the definition.
That's not the definition.
Yes, it is.
Because you're talking
You got a
about.
power structure, a hierarchy.
We're talking about but you're making all that up. Like the difference is guy's daughter got
Somebody's
murdered,
idea
come and
to say
kills.
we need to do something about this.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to organize people. He can just go kill you.
That's not a government. But if you have
Right.
a bunch of people with sticks and shit,
But I think,
it is.
but I think in any society, I think societies can take care of themselves, and we've created a structure where the society is taking more away than it's giving now.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the.
That's why you should vote Trump.
So you said as long as you could get away with it, you'd murder somebody.
What about you, Dan?
What about me?
What would it
How
take
many
for you
people
to
have you
murder?
killed?
Well, this is a parody, so I can't be
Parody law.
so I can't be prosecuted with this information. No, I came out of PetSmart once and a bag of dog food, and my alarm's going off in my car. My car has an anti-theft system, which means the alarm only goes off if you reach your arm in the window, unlock the door, and then try to open the door.
I'm a thief.
and try to open the door. It won't if you shake the car. None of that, right? So the alarm's going off. I'm like puzzled, trying to figure out. And actually, at the time, it wasn't my car. So it was my girlfriend's car. So I don't know. I'm trying to understand why this could be happening.
You stole the car.
So alarm's going off. People next to me are like pulling out as I show up, and then I realize the only thing in the car is my dog. So they were like trying to take my dog, and then this rage went over me where there was a moment where I was going to follow the car, follow them home, and kill their entire family. Like that's where I was. About a
That's
dog,
reasonable, yeah.
about a dog that was born in an attic in Schenectady. That I have no genetic information.
You're not just talking about you're talking about Tess.
It is my dog.
Who's an
She's
angel.
wonderful. Yeah. But
What if?
what happens when I'm a father?
What happened if they had grabbed the dog? You follow the car. You get to the house. It's all of Tessa's real family. They've been looking for her. They've hired this guy to get her back, and they're just returning her to her
Tess
family.
is
And
so
they're
happy.
crying.
I
they
do-
can talk. They're like, thank you
Tess is
so
talking
much.
I want these drugs too. These are great drugs. Yeah. So that put it in perspective for me that if I ever become a father, I should go potentially turn myself in that day. Like you got to put a watch list on me because now that I have a daughter or a son. I'm probably going to, if anything happens to that person, I'm going to kill somebody. For sure. 100%. Without even thinking about it. Because my dog.
I think if you have a daughter, what's going to happen is that the foresight is also going to be input. That instinct is going to come into. So you're going to be able to see, if I kill this person and I go to jail, I won't be able to take care of my daughter for the rest of my life. And so I think that's going to override with Tess.
I don't
mean,
think
I forgot. I got lost, but you know what I meant.
Sure. I don't think you're gonna meet anybody willing to carry a pregnancy with you.
Okay, so we're good. So we're good then.
Yeah, you're gonna be fine.
I'm saying you'll have more foresight as a father.
But those moments of pure rage where something's happened to somebody, those are the ones I'm afraid of. Those are the moments
There's nothing to be afraid of with that. That's pure human nature, and that's
it's raw. It's
supposed
fucking
to be
scary.
happening. That's supposed to be happening.
This shit is scary. Like there was a dude who murdered somebody in college who we vaguely knew him. We all just kind of had like decent things to say about him, and he was like at his baby mama's house, and he goes over there to have a conversation, and he ends up beating her to death with his fists, puts her in a suitcase, and tries to throw her out with trash, leaving the two babies in the house. And all that was going through my mind is, what the fuck did she say to him?
Right?
Because what's the trigger? Like, what's the trigger in my life that somebody could do? They just text while I'm on stage, and I just fucking beat him to death with my shoes.
I think that was probably a misguided individual.
It would just have to be that somebody had killed all of my family.
I don't think he's a misguided individual. I think there's a trigger. I think we all have a trigger.
You think somebody?
I don't know the guy. I think
the
we all have
mother
a
of your
trigger.
children said something that was bad enough for you to beat them to death.
He wasn't. They weren't together. It's a baby mama situation. One of the babies was his.
I don't think
one
that
of the
changes anything.
One of the babies wasn't his. It wasn't. They weren't. Yeah, they weren't.
Oh
like
well, in that case,
they weren't a family structure. No.
Well, yeah, clearly.
So.
Once you murder somebody, they're not a family structure anymore.
But prior to
family
that
unit
as well.
kind of goes. You don't have any more family times. There's no more pictures in the album. It's over.
Yeah, what do you? I don't want to go that far, but yeah, what do you? If that's your life, if your father murdered your mother, what happens to you? How do you go on with that life?
We've really reached a point in this podcast.
Well, listen, my goal of this podcast is not to be silly comedians fucking around. The goal is to solve.
Just chill, bro.
Chill, bro.
Solve all of the world's problems.
I think we've solved most of them.
So what's the wrap up?
Don't be afraid of murdering somebody.
Pro killing.
Pro killing.
Pro suicide.
Pro suicide.
Don't chop off your dick.
No more chopping off dicks. Keep your dick.
Keep
Do
your
kill
dick.
people.
Keep your dick is probably the best bumper sticker.
Keep your dick. I do like that.
I think it's what was mine. I don't remember what my bumper sticker was, but keep your dick is a way better bumper sticker.
Keep your dick, bro.
Get your whole argument across.
Yeah. You
really
want to dress
does.
up like whatever? That's fine.
Bumper sticker.
Keep your dick.
That's your argument.
Keep your dick.
Bumper sticker. You win and also lose.
Keep your dick.
What do you think about? I think you should keep your dick. I think you should keep it.
What else? Oh, that's pretty much everything that we've covered, right? And then get your drugs from Brettdruck.
Brettdruck?
Yeah.
Do come to the Comedy's Best Kept Secret, whatever the fuck.
Secret tour. We're all over the country. Actually, we are going back
Glens
out.
Falls.
We're back at Glens Falls. We're back out in August and September. Me and James Myers are going to talk about some dates at the end of 2017. Brettdruck is going on tour with Steve Hofstetter all through 2018. He's a phenomenal comic, so look out for him. He doesn't do drugs before he gets on stage, so hang out with him after when he does the other.
He does do that.
Yeah, because the clusters have.
Okay. So check out Brettdruck at Brettdruck. James Myers, Mr. J Myers, is a phenomenal comedian and controversy stirrer all throughout social media. I've never seen anybody with the amount of Twitter clout where pretty much I put something up, nobody gives a fuck. He puts something up and it's getting retweeted and liked left and right.
That's
so
true.
So follow him. Keep your dick. And
Keep your dick, bro.
I will fight you on any social media.
And thank you for listening. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher app, Podbean, all of the places. If you found us, Podbean. Podbeans
Nobody
are.
listens to this.
Podbean.
Nobody's even heard
I
of
said all of
Podbean.
the ones that are substantial, and then I said Podbean at the end.
Okay.
So if you found us, you done good work. Tell people, subscribe, and keep listening. We'll try to provide challenging content as we can. That's really just apparently not funny. Apparently I'm not funny, and nobody wants to hear me talk for 45 minutes.
Check us out on Podcast Bakery. That everyone's favorite app.
Get home safe, everybody, or wherever you are. Thank you for listening.